You ever have one of those pieces of media that hit you at a formative age and remains buried somewhere in the recesses of your mind, yet, because of its obscurity, it remains so personal that you're half convinced you dreamt it? This was mine.
Hi, I'm Penn, and this is my partner, Teller.
Hi, I'm Penn, and this is my partner, Teller.
I'm Penn, and this is my partner, Teller. We're Penn and Teller.
We're Penn and Teller.
We are Penn and Teller. We are Penn and Teller. And this show is about balance. And this is a program about the art of photography. And this show is about music. And this is not a show about jump rope. We're Penn and Teller, and this is a show about theater. But we're on television.
If you're unfamiliar with Penn and Teller, they're two American magicians, the talkative Penn Jillette and the mute Raymond Joseph Teller, and in their act they regularly deconstruct the principles of magic and showmanship for their audience, all while being darkly funny, nail-bitingly dangerous, and politically charged. Like, they're massive libertarians, like members of the Cato Institute and everything. Not that I knew they were libertarians when I was a kid. In fact, when I was a kid, I knew them most for this 10-episode miniseries they made for a noted bastion of free market-loving, government oversight-despising, laissez-faire capitalism, PBS.
This is PBS.
By the way, this series was made possible with a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts. Remember? That organization that Republicans tried to defund once it got gay in it? Anyway. Behind the Scenes was a show about art, in many different disciplines. My dad got the whole miniseries taped on VHS, and I'd marathon the entire series when I'd have an afternoon to myself as a kid. I got Behind the Scenes on DVD from some online seller, which I, accidentally stepped on. But then, is it just me, or is this material really brittle? Like, you can see I tried taping it back together to give it some coherency, but, I mean, look at this, it just snaps like that. How cheaply made is this thing? But it was enough for me to rip the DVDs, store the files on a hard drive, and present them to you, the YouTube audience, for the sake of this short little explanatory video.
But we're professional liars. We like to fool people, trick their eyes, cheat them, swindle them. This whole room is a trick, and we're not going to tell you how it's done. This show is about how artists use paintings and drawings to trick your eye.
Every episode was structured around a broad theme and showcased a guest artist to describe their work process, creating a work of art throughout the episode and displaying the finished product by the end. Guest artists include drummer Max Roach, Julie Taymor, working on her ideas for The Tempest decades before her filmed version, and David Hockney, who draws not a chair, but a walk around a chair.
If I walk round the chair and then think of what I saw, this seems to me would make it more real.
And around these guest appearances, the show is structured a lot like Sesame Street, beginning and ending with animated segments involving a furry creature trying to make art, peppered with some lightly animated vignettes designed to keep up with a child's attention span, with some original songs sprinkled in, like this one from their episode about color.
What color is water? A drop isn't any. The thing about water drops when you have many is there's a blue ocean, but when oceans get mean, they make you seasick. You could color them green. I'd rather color them yellow or pink. I like my oceans exciting, I think.
And binding them all together, Penn and Teller using magic to explain some basic principles of art. Like here, where they demonstrate the musical concept of theme and variation.
Oh, when the saints' idea come marching in. Repetition. Oh, when the saints come marching in. Variation.
Or here, using a simple illusion to talk about sculptural balance. Or here, where they end the episode about lines by drawing a really, really long line. Watching it as an adult, it's, well, a little basic, a little hokey. Compared to Penn and Teller's other, edgy stuff. Not quite the same level of mind-blowing I got when watching it as a kindergartner, but, you know, as a kid, I was charmed. Even Penn and Teller forgot that they did it. According to Penn, the original idea was that the pilot would be done by a... No, I'm not doing a Penn. I'm not doing a Penn Jillette impression for this. The original idea was that the pilot would be done by us, and every other show would be hosted by different people. In the 5 years they were waiting to get funding, it changed to us doing the entire show. And according to Teller, who does in fact speak when not on stage, we completely forgot about it. We had other things to do. Within that time, I even got personal phone calls from Madonna, so I kept busy. But I remembered it.
Keep on thinking!
I remembered it well enough to consider buying physical copies of it, flimsy as they are. Enough to make this video about it. Enough to realize how much it influenced me, and the work that I do online. Using short-form video to explain artistic concepts has kind of been my bread and butter over these last years. And I don't think I've ever gotten a lesson on Shakespeare as simple and to the point as Julie Taymor's breakdown of a single metaphor.
For instance, you have Caliban saying, you taught me about the bigger light. What is the bigger light? What is the bigger light? Is it a light bulb? What is it? Well, in fact, the bigger light is the sun. And what Caliban has done is he's really described the sun of what it is. It's the big, big light up there. So in a way, Shakespeare is more simple than we are. What is the sun? The sun is the bigger light. Now, the audience won't know that unless they see potentially the actor gesturing.
And teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee.
So, why talk about it? It was never a hit, never a long-running series. Penn and Teller are known for much bigger projects. The world will keep spinning without Teller using a series of slide whistles and yams to explain the concept of melody. Maybe I'm just talking about it because I feel like the only one who remembers it. And by making this video, I'm trying to reach out to anyone who would remember it. Someone to remember it because I can't be the only one who does.
Yo! Anyone want to see a magic trick? Come over here!
So, here it is, in heavily truncated form, with my dumb voice talking over it. Preserved for as long as this video stays on YouTube. And because you never know just what media you might lose.